Recently, the top 10 on the Point and Crate demon list has changed dramatically, with some of the most iconic demons being moved to the top 20, which has been a good thing and a bad thing for the overall quality of the top 10. A lot of people have been talking about how the demon list is moving too fast, and mentioning Slaughterhouse being at number 15, and there are a bunch of upcoming top 10s being finished and worked on by verifiers, so I thought that I could get a video out of the top 10s while I still knew all of them. So that's what this is. A simple worst to best ranking of the top 10 hardest levels in Geometry Dash. I'm also going to give them a ranking out of 10 for the sake of it. Before I continue, I'd like to say that these are all my opinions. They're completely subjective and you're entitled to your own opinions. If you disagree, then I'd be glad if you shared your opinions in the comments. I also want to say that I don't inherently dislike any of these levels, and if I put one low, I might not hate it as much as I seem to. I'm just justifying putting it that low. Now, to the ranking. In last place is Acheron. It's in 8th place right now, and I've never been a fan of it. Its decoration is very dated and honestly kind of ugly, and the gameplay doesn't look fun to play or watch for me. I've done practice runs of Scoop and Circles for fun, and I couldn't finish a practice run of this level because of how much I disliked the gameplay. When recalling the macro for this level, I had to speed hack it to make it more bearable. Another issue with this level is that it doesn't use the song very well in my opinion. Call me petty, but thermodynamics has always felt like more of an elemental bluey level than a basic grayscale level. I don't hate the level, but I certainly prefer the levels that come after this. I'd give it a 5 out of 10. In 9th is Tidal Wave. There's something very specific about this level that I strongly dislike that's a little bit hard to explain, so bear with me. Tidal Wave feels to me like it was made for the sole purpose of being a top 1. This isn't inherently a bad thing. A lot of levels were made to be top 1s, but the main issue I have is that it needed to be a top 1. It was made just to be difficult, so its gameplay doesn't look very fun to play and definitely not fun to watch. The icon's moving so quickly and changing constantly, so unless you take the time to learn the gameplay of a 3-minute top 1 with 200 frame perfects, which I doubt anyone watching a showcase of it on YouTube would do, you're barely going to understand what's going on. Also, the decoration feels a lot like a second thought, like Onlink realised he didn't know what to name it and decided on Tidal Wave, and decorated it like that. Overall, I don't like this level because it's not focusing on being good, just on being hard. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. At number 8, I put Avernus. Avernus suffers from a lot of the same issues as Tidal Wave gameplay-wise, with it only being focused on being hard, and this one has the added problem of having the fixed hitboxes. Avernus has two things over Tidal Wave though. First of all, its gameplay is actually possible to understand most of the time, with even the drop being relatively readable, which is a rare sight among the hardest levels. It's also probably some of the most fun wave gameplay in the top 10, which I found out when I was botting it. Second, I like the decoration way more than Tidal Wave. It's far better as a generic hell level, even if sometimes it can be a little over-decorated and feel like a bit too much, like with the Iron Grate thing closing in the part after the drop. Still, I think this level's deco is really solid, despite it all being on the same layer or something. That's why I prefer it to Tidal Wave. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. For number 7, I put Andromeda. This is one of the most recent and underhyped top 10s, being currently at number 5 on the list. I don't have much to say about this level. I've only seen it about 3 times, including short clips of people beating it. When I was writing the script for this video, I realised that I knew nothing about this level, so I watched a showcase of it, and honestly, I was kind of disappointed. Don't get me wrong, I really like this level. The backgrounds look amazing, and the gameplay is really fun to watch, a very rare thing for a level this difficult. But the main issue is that whenever I hear the words Space Theme Top 10, I will always think of Cosmos as a fan of that level. That's a really bad thing for Andromeda, because it means every time I watch a showcase of it, or hear people talk about it, I'll always compare it to Cosmos, which is a completely unfair comparison. Because of this, all Andromeda will ever be to me is the space level after Cosmos. The gameplay's fun though, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10. If you're enjoying this video so far, then I'd ask that you like the video, and if you want more of this type of content, you subscribe, because I'm working on more videos like this, as well as videos of me actually playing the game, instead of judging other people who play the game. Now, back to the ranking. The level I put at number 6 is Silent Clubstep. It's kind of hypocritical putting it this high when its decoration is even more dated than Acheron's. It's my ranking, so I can do whatever I want. Honestly, I would have put Silent Clubstep higher, maybe even in my top 3, if there wasn't one issue with it. It sucks. Let me explain. I really like this level, and I have since I found out about it. I've rewatched 50-minute videos about it multiple times. I even tried to buff it back when I sucked at the game. Really weird. Why would I buff it if I'm bad at the game? But, if you were to ask me exactly what I liked about the level, I'd be lost. Because the level has really bad decoration, ugly colours, and interesting gameplay. But still, I like this level so much and appreciate the charm behind its atrocious facade. I don't know what I like so much about this level, but I know that I like it, and that's enough for this ranking. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. At number 5 is Every End. If you've even been remotely part of the community for the past 2 or 3 months, then you have to have heard of Every End. The 7-minute behemoth of a mega collab made by the creator of Limbo uses 1.0 decoration and 1 times cube the entire time. Exo feels actually good. This level is intended to be more friendly towards people only starting to join the competitive scene, but of course Zoink was the first victor. Anyway, Every End is one of the most unique levels on the demon list, and I really like the effects where you can see the gameplay that's coming up in the background. I also think that for a layout that could have been made in 1.0, it's really fun and interesting. Unfortunately, the next issue of the top 25 but every orb switches the level will literally just have a showcase of this level, because it has no orbs. This level gets an 8 out of 10. In 4th place is Anathema. I really like this level for a bunch of reasons. The gameplay is extremely fun to do for most parts, and the decoration stays fresh because of how many different ways it uses the exact same colours. It uses a rainbow colour scheme, but in a good way, not in a way that makes it look like Melody. I like how it doesn't take itself seriously. It references a couple retro games like Space Invaders and Tetris, just for the sake of it, and doesn't try to be menacing or edgy in any way. I also like the song quite a lot, despite not being a fanatic video addict like I was 2 years ago. A lot of the parts look really cool, and I especially like the first drop's decoration. Anathema is overall a really solid level, and I like it. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. At number 3 is Spectre. A bit of a side tangent here, but Spectre is probably the top 10 with the least controversy right now. Tidal Wave wasn't rated for a while, Nullscapes had the CBF detector drama, Bubblewamba had been placed that high at number 3, Anathema just took ages to be made. Every End had a big debate about whether it was rate-worthy or not. Silent Clubstep had the drama with Paco pausing during the verification, which is a really stupid controversy. It's completely allowed. Avernus had the fixed hitboxes, and Acheron had that whole ridiculous click pattern drama. The only one to really rival Spectre in uncontroversialness is Andromeda because of how underhyped it was. Anyway, back to actually talking about the level. Spectre's the unofficial but practically considered sequel to Zodiac, a former top 1. Spectre uses glow deco but in a way that makes it feel unique, which I love about it. I really dislike generic glow levels from mid to late 2.1, and this level is so much better than any of them could be because it's so unique. It's a mega collab hosted by Xander, the original hack verifier of Zodiac, so each part feels very different but still connected in some way. This means that it doesn't get repetitive or boring, but it's not too jarring when it changes. I also really like the song used, being a Creo song, which can never fail. One issue I do have with the level is that the decoration is really inconsistent in quality, with it being really over-decorated sometimes but too simple in other parts. That's basically guaranteed with a mega collab like this. Overall, this is an amazing mega collab and a worthy sequel to Zodiac. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. In 2nd place is Nullscapes. Over the past 2 or 3 months, I've developed a love for the robot game mode, and Nullscapes was definitely a factor in that. If you don't know, Nullscapes and its predecessor, Shardscapes, are completely made up of the robot game mode. For a while, I really hated the robot game mode because I thought there was just a cheap knockoff of the cube. And while it still is, I like it more than the cube now because of how much more versatile it is, and how easy it is to make gameplay for it. Like, seriously, in most of my layouts, the robot part takes the least time while usually being the most fun part. Anyway, Nullscapes is an extremely atmospheric level. It has amazing backgrounds, especially in the second half of the drop. This level introduces these orbs that switch as you play, so you don't know what it's going to do until you click it, or you can just memorize the level. I really like this gimmick because it adds to the feeling of chaotic ruin the level has. It feels like the world's ending and in complete disarray, which I love. I also think the gameplay is really fun to watch, and that its use of the robot game modes is well executed. My problem is that the level isn't very good to play. I did a practice run of it, and it really didn't enjoy how clunky and ridiculous some of the gameplay was. Especially parts with orbs, there was like triple clicks there. Still though, I overall love this level, and I think it's really great, but I don't love it enough for it to be a number 1. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Number 1, the best level in the top 10. I think it's fairly obvious what's at number 1 now. Bubblewamba is the 3rd hardest level in the game, and was made by Acheron, who I really like as a creator. I personally think that Bubblewamba is the best memory level since Limbo, for a lot of reasons that are a bit difficult to explain. First of all, one of the main gimmicks is that you can barely see most of the level, with only a small light illuminating the player and the path ahead. Other parts are fully visible, but the most iconic parts use this gimmick. The mechanic isn't completely original, other levels definitely have done this, but I think that Bubblewamba does it best. I also love how mysterious and menacing the level is, which the darkness contributes to. The song also contributes to the atmosphere, being dark, mysterious, and kind of eccentric, being a song you wouldn't usually hear in a GD level. But then again, this isn't the type of level you usually see. You're set in a kind of factory or facility of some kind. I kind of headcanon that it's in Aperture Laboratories, because the song is called Portal to the Other Side. And I really like this aesthetic. One of my favourite parts is the last robot, where you have to jump over a series of spike piles that you can barely see, while the facility you're in crumbles around you. You then escape through a shaft represented by a final straightfly, then entering the end screen. This is where the level gets insane. At 5 set points in the level, there are 5 specific objects that will each either show or not be there, making 64 different combinations that you might have to remember. But that's not all. During the robot tunnel at the end, there are 5 screens with each one of the numbers 1 to 5 randomly, meaning there's 120 combinations. If the object corresponding to that number wasn't there, you have to click the toggle orb that's attached to the screen. But if it was there, then you leave the toggle orb. If you get the combination wrong, then you die midway through the straight fly, but it lets you through if you get it right. I love this ending. The entire level feels like it follows a story, with you traversing different parts of the facility, searching for an escape, and you finally found one in the end, with the level helping you throughout to escape with hints, with it all leading up to the moment where the scanner either has a tick or a cross. I absolutely love this level, and I think it's one of the best levels made in 2.2 so far. Obviously, I give it a 10 out of 10. That's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, then consider leaving a like, or even subscribing if you want to. If you want to share an opinion about my ranking, or the levels themselves, then you can leave them in the comments and I'll respond if I can. I'm glad I got this level out before... Oh, no, maybe I'll stay at top 50. Oh, for fuck...